The moment I stepped into the grand ballroom at the Hilton Chicago, I thought I was walking into a dream. Crystal chandeliers dripping light like diamonds, ivory roses cascading down marble columns, guests in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos sipping sparkling cider beneath golden ambience. But instead, I walked into a nightmare disguised as a fairy tale. Because this wasn't just my son Daniel's wedding to his fiancée Vanessa Hartley, it was the night someone tried to murder my grandson. And only a whisper from a child saved him. My name is Helen Reynolds. I'm 68 years old, and if you've ever believed that evil wears a mask of perfection, let me tell you how mine almost didn't see through it until it was nearly too late. That night, I wore my favorite navy blue dress, the one with the lace collar my late husband gave me on our 40th anniversary, my silver hair styled neatly, pearls around my neck, trying so hard to feel like a proud grandmother at her only son's big day. But something felt off, a quiet hum beneath the music, like a storm gathering behind a calm sky. And then, out of nowhere, my 7-year-old grandson Noah looked up at me with those wide, serious eyes and said, "Grandma Helen, check under the table." And I froze, not because it made no sense, but because I've learned over 6 decades that children don't warn without reason. So I knelt, smoothed my dress, and peered beneath the long white cloth near his chair, and there it was, a folded piece of paper taped underneath, the handwriting neat, almost elegant, but the words cut through me like ice. Add shrimp to Noah's plate. He's allergic. Make it look accidental. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred.
Noah.
My baby. Allergic to shellfish, since he was 2. Hospitalized once, for anaphylaxis. 1 bite could stop his breathing. And someone at this wedding had written this. Planned this. To kill him. I looked across the room. Daniel stood at the head table, laughing with Vanessa, his arm around her waist. She smiled. Perfect teeth, perfect hair, perfect poise. The woman I'd welcomed into our family, the woman I'd called daughter just hours ago. Was she capable of this? Or was this some cruel joke? I didn't have time to wonder. I grabbed Noah's hand and whispered, "We're leaving."
Now.
But before I could stand, a voice stopped me. "Aunt Helen." I turned. It was Sophie, my younger sister, standing behind me, face pale. "I need to talk to you. Alone." We slipped into a quiet hallway. "I saw something," she said, voice low. One of the waiters, Carlos, was arguing with Vanessa in the kitchen. She handed him a folded note, paid him $5,000 cash, said if he didn't do it, she'd report him to immigration. He has a green card application pending. My blood ran cold. "Find Carlos," I said. "Bring him to me. And don't let Vanessa see you." 10 minutes later, Carlos stood before me, shaking. "I didn't want to do it," he confessed. "She offered me money to slip shrimp into the boys' meal during dinner. Said it would be a tragic accident. I left the note under the table hoping someone would find it. I couldn't go through with it." I placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did the right thing. Now we stop her, together." I returned to the ballroom. The ceremony had ended.
Guests were seated. Dinner was about to be served.
I walked straight to the microphone at the front. The band paused. Conversations faded. All eyes turned to me. "Excuse me," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I have an announcement." Daniel looked confused. Vanessa stiffened. "This wedding was meant to celebrate love," I continued. "But instead, I'm here to expose a plot to murder my grandson." Gasps echoed through the room. Under Noah's chair, we found a note instructing a waiter to add shrimp to his plate, knowing full well he could die from it. I held up the paper. "And I have proof that the person who wrote this is the bride herself." Vanessa shot to her feet. "This is insane. Who are you going to believe, a grieving grandmother or me?" "I'll tell you who I believe," came a calm voice from the back. It was Claire, my adopted daughter. She walked forward holding her phone. "I've been recording everything." Vanessa bragged to her cousin last week about getting rid of the brats so Daniel could start a clean family. I didn't want to believe it either. But after today, I can't stay silent. Daniel stared at her. At me. At the note. His face drained of color. Vanessa, is this true? She hesitated just a second too long. Then she sneered.
Yes.
That little monster ruins everything. You're always with him, never with me. If he's gone, we can finally be happy. The room erupted. People shouted. Some stood to leave. Others reached for their phones. Daniel backed away from her, horror in his eyes. You wanted to kill my son? He whispered. He's 7 years old. He doesn't belong in our life, she screamed. You chose him over me for years. Now I'm choosing me. Security escorted her out. Police were called. The wedding was over. But the damage? That would take years to heal. That night, I sat with Noah in a hotel room, holding him close. You saved us, sweetheart, I whispered. How did you know? He looked up at me. I saw her put the note under the table when she thought no one was looking. And Grandma, I heard her say, one less problem. I cried then, long, silent tears. For the innocence lost. For the betrayal. For the fact that my own flesh and blood had brought this woman into our lives. Daniel stayed with us that night. He barely spoke. In the morning, he looked broken. I can't believe I didn't see it, he said. I thought she loved me. I thought she'd learn to love Noah. Love doesn't threaten children, Daniel, I said gently. That wasn't love. That was control. And hatred. He nodded, tears falling. I'm done. I'm filing for divorce. And I'm fighting for full custody. Noah comes first. Always. I hugged him. You're doing the right thing. Over the next few months, our lives changed. Daniel moved in with me temporarily. Noah started therapy. We enrolled him in a support group for kids who'd experienced trauma. And slowly, healing began. But the most unexpected change?
Claire.
She had always been quiet, reserved. Adopted by my husband and me when she was 12, after her parents died in a car crash. We raised her as our own, but she always felt like the other daughter. Polite, grateful, but distant. After the wedding, she stepped up. She took Noah to school, helped him with homework, sat with him when nightmares woke him screaming. One evening, I found them on the couch, Noah asleep on her lap, her hand gently stroking his hair. You're good with him, I said. He trusts you. She smiled softly. He reminds me of me at that age.
Scared.
Wanting to be safe. Daniel began spending more time with her, not as siblings but as allies. They co-parented, made decisions together. One day, he told me, Claire's the only one who's been there for Noah without an agenda. She's not trying to replace anyone. She's just loving him. By the next Christmas, something beautiful happened. We gathered at my house, small, intimate. No grand ballroom. No fake smiles. Just family. Real family. Daniel stood up during dessert. I want to say something, he said. To Claire. She looked surprised. You didn't have to be there for Noah. You didn't have to fight for him. But you did. You protected him when I failed. So today, I'm asking you, not as my sister-in-law, but as the woman who's become his true mother, to be his legal guardian alongside me. Tears streamed down Claire's face. Yes, she whispered. 1,000 times yes. The room clapped. Noah jumped into her arms. And in that moment, I realized, family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who protects. Vanessa was sentenced to 10 years for attempted murder and conspiracy. She appealed, claiming coercion, but the evidence was overwhelming. Daniel and Noah visited me often. Claire moved into the guest house. Life wasn't perfect. There were still bad days. Nights when Noah cried. Moments when Daniel blamed himself. But we faced them together. A year later, I received a letter from Carlos, the waiter. I got my green card, he wrote. And a job at a school cafeteria. No shrimp on the menu. Thank you for not letting me become part of her plan. You saved my soul, too. I framed that letter. It hangs beside my wedding photo, my real wedding, the one with my husband where love was kind, not cruel. Today, Noah is 10. He loves dinosaurs, soccer, and drawing superheroes, especially one named Grandma Shield. Daniel remarried, this time to a teacher who adores Noah. Claire runs a nonprofit for foster children, teaching them resilience. And me? I speak at schools about listening to children, about trusting small warnings, about protecting what matters most. If you've ever doubted your instincts, if you've ever been told you're too dramatic or overprotective, let this story remind you. Your gut is not lying. Your love is not weakness. And sometimes, the smallest voice in the room is the one that saves everyone. If this story touched you, please hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. Your voice matters. And together, we can prove that courage, love, and truth will always win.